Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirisho here, and now, before I do begin, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a lot of things happening. Now, Deku, he decided to spec into a skill called Dual Body. Now, he used this ability to begin looking through the knowledge he got from the Sphinx's labyrinth, help rebuild Granala, train his apprentice, and even spend time with his children, along with have a bit more of a social call with the other dragons at Atrig's lair. Now, this was a very interesting event. Deku, within one day, was in multiple places all at once, and he got to take a day off. It was relaxing, it was fun, and it was informative. Right now, he's trying to learn new ideas about how to use his unique skill, along with learning how to use destruction magic and trying to figure out what to do when it does come to the stories they know and what they have as fact. They're trying to find a way to reanimate a god. Either that or destroy its remains so completely that the Demon Lord cannot use them for nefarious means. And by doing so, they can cripple his forces. They won't be able to get forbidden magics, forbidden arts that they have been using to take over the plains. Now, Deku, him and the others still need to workshop a plan to throw hell into chaos. And that it's going to be one hell of a distraction. Though while Deku was taking time off Bakugo, he was a little bit more proactive, since right now, he himself is in contact with Usin Druso, and he is trying to figure out when they should commence their attack. Now, with that being said, let's currently pick up with Deku a few days later. Right now, a lot has been happening. He has been trying to learn more and to code more about a few things. He's even gone into meditation, trying to see about where they can get a lock on the god's mana. They're already aware of how their systems do operate, how they are given this divine magic by a higher power, and that certainly has helped change the perception of mana in Deku's eyes. He can't speak for Ochako or Bakugo, but right now, he's informed them of his plan. He wants to go to a plane and try to meditate, see if he can lock onto the form of magic connected to the divine. It won't be easy, but it might take some time. They're talking about tasks that could take months and months and months to go through. But that's what they do kind of need. And Bakugo himself, he does even give this an attempt. It's not easy, but trying to search an entire plane of reality for a god's skeleton certainly doesn't sound like it was going to be easy in the first place. Now, Bakugo, however, he has also been trying to gain a bit more power to catch up to Deku. And that does mean he's going to need to play a little bit of catch up, though his personal life has also begun to creep in on that. And right now, we do have where Deku does sit there staring out at the ocean on top of a mountain after opening his eyes and trying to think. He couldn't find much. Going to stand. He's not even sure if Galore is on this plane. It could be a problem. A lot of the information he had talked about the gods coming down to this plane. The first stories of the first empires and the creators running. They were chased off to different planes of reality through portals or gateways. They fled somewhere into the multiverse. But he doesn't even know where this original challenge took place nor how the story ended up in the library. Mount Celestia? Do they need to go to one of the upper planes? See more about that? He's heard that that's where the homeland of the gods is. That could work. But if the challenge took place in Celestia, then how did he get to the abyss? If that's where he originally died, but his blood, Nuvas' tears, they make up the ocean, where does the water come from? Does it manifest here? Is that truly just a story, or is there any form of credence to that information? Deku, letting out a bit of a sigh, staring at the water. He's tried using it as a focus, communing with the actual element. But it's weird. Channeling an element is different than what he's attempting to do. It's full of magic. He can manipulate it, bend it to his will, create it. But he's not trying to create water. He's trying to pour magic into it, not as a way to control it, but to find a thread, find something. It's a stretch, but he's heard of this technique before. It's druidic in nature? Kind of. It's based in that idea. And right now, he's trying to put his whole being into it. He's trying to use his own soul to commune with something that's old. It's not working. And that idea does have Deku a bit annoyed. Looking down and re-going over the stats, he does get a currently see in front of him, along with another reward screen for taking out those dragons a few days ago. And he does stare at the level 15 skills that do appear in front of him. Draconic Sight. Dragon Sight. This ability is based from the Amethyst Dragon. It has begun scrying into other realms in the multiverse. This ability would allow you to commune with dragons on other planes, possibly plan things out, coordinate with them if they are of like-minded kinship, and you would be able to potentially find a way to make yourself appear in that realm. Plan accordingly. If you are to meet with this echo, you could consume it, work with it, or even be consumed by it. And Deku, he does think of that. Take its power for his own, or work with it with a separate plan. Dragon Sight is a interesting ability. The Amethyst Dragon believed it to be a myth, but it was scrying into other realms. So, he's not sure if it really was, but now he can confirm that it was not. Enhanced Senses. Allow you to enhance your senses to the maximum capability you can. This ability could be thought more as foresight and or a sixth sense ability. Would allow you to perceive any threat that may wish you harm. Please note, precognition would be a secondary aspect of this ability, along with glimpses of potential hazards. And he does get a stare at that. It's like a cosmic awareness. And he doesn't like that. Him feeling some strange goosebumps run up the back of his neck as he does get a turn. Right now, him looking back at the screen and going to watch as Chromatic Awakening is the third ability. Chromatic Awakening. Due to your powers and kinship with dragonkind, this ability has become known to you. Would allow you to have a secondary life. Him continue to read. Whenever your power does run out and or reach zero, or you do choose to activate this ability, you would be able to restore all your spells, restore your magic, and or restore any technique you have used. Would allow you to fully heal stamina, magic, and or magical techniques you have used. Would gain a slight buff to your abilities. And he does go to reread that for a second. Restore his magic. It would reset him? That that wording. No, it can't be. But maybe. Hmm. Interesting. Draconic Maw. This ability is a lesser ability. It has been leveled to the maximum to fit this current reward. Draconic Maw is an ability that would allow you to turn your shadow into that of a living creature. It would be able to swallow attacks whole and absorb the magic within. Would allow you to cast your next 3 spells with a increased rate of power and or akin to the max level given the boost. Draconic Maw is also a form of defense, as it is offense. Him staring at this ability, it can swallow attacks. Huh. Interesting. So, Dragon Sight's out of the running. The senses one could be good, but his perception's already very high. He can already tell when people are watching him. So, that one's not good either. That one would massively increase his perception, though. Him picking Chromatic Awakening. And whenever he does this select, this is a reward, he does go to watch as a screen. It does not immediately disappear. It does go to glow a strange color of red before it does go to disperse and then go to wrap up in a strange glow. Right now, Valin and Indra going to come stepping out and into the mountain. Making their way up the stairs, as there is our Deku, he does get a turn. Right now, him going to stare at the both of them and asking if they've got everything packed up. And right now, Valin does going to raise her hand to Deku, going to carefully lower the bag in her right hand, as the little one in her left arm does go to stare at Deku and reach out for him, as he does get a turn and raise up his hands, looking down at them as he does see strange like patterns running up his forearms. Him looking at his bicep. Before he does a look down at his torso, along with scales, he does see these strange like patterns that do move around his body. And some of them do even mix in with his blackened scars. They're like lightning bolts running around him. But that's odd. Him watching as they do go to coalesce into a proper shape. And whenever he does it to focus on that, he does a stare at them. Right now, him going to create a body double and go to stare at his face, which does have some of those lines running up along his neck and even going to cover the right side and above his torso and forearm. Now, he does a stare at them. These strange tree-like limbs, these lines, they branch off into patterns. And he does look at that before they do go to shift to a darkened red and then go to shift to a lighter shade as Deku does stare at them, finally going to settle on his body. Before he does turn back to the two and ask, about what happened? I've heard of this. I am surprised. You've mastered. You've mastered a form of magic. Wow. I'll say. I didn't know that was possible. It is hidden. Only those of few of our kind understand it. Deku going to flip his arm and see that some of these, they do seem more like you took a pen and zigzagged it back and forth. You turned how it curved and shot in a different direction. Some of these look more organized, some don't. Though right now, he does just want to stare at them. They don't cover too much of his skin, from what he can tell on his arms, but they're kind of interesting. Right now, him going to use polymorph and go to try and hide these tattoos. Though whenever he does, going to try and take on a more humanoid appearance, his horns, his eyes, and his skin turning back into that of a proper human, the tattoos, they do get to remain. Him staring at them, a bit more surprised. And this, it does slightly annoy him. Him going to let go of the spell as he's going to change back to normal. Going to walk over and take his son from Valin. Him holding the kid up and talking about it. About how pretty soon they're going to go to their new home. And he must be very excited for that. Though they do have to say goodbye to Grandpa first. And the little dragon does get a little puff of fire at Deku. Him smiling before he does somewhat cradle his son carefully, in turn, and bring a finger up to his daughter, telling her, does she want to say goodbye to Grandpa? And she does grab his hand and go to stare at him. Her nodding in the affirmative, and Deku does just want to stare at that. Him smiling and talking about it. Adrig making his way up the stairs, expressing, he has teleportation magic, and they are only going to Granala. He does not see why it is such a big deal to say goodbye. Him with his hands behind his back, before Deku does turn to the man and hold up his grandson. The man smiling and going to take the kid carefully, before he does pull the kid into a hug and turn to his daughter, stepping forwards and pulling her into a gentle embrace, before saying something to her as Deku does express. He has teleportation magic. Why is he making such a big deal out of this? Because I may be busy for some time. I have been reevaluating some prospects of mine. And well, I feel it is necessary that I take some time to myself. Dad, gross. I am not talking about in that regard. I have been talking with Besla. Oh, so you want us to get out of your hair then? She is an old dear friend of mine. Though I do fear that my problems won't be her. My problems will be more of the familial type. If you saw my sister, it is only a matter of time before she informs my father. Your father. He's still alive? I believe so. I have not been in contact with my family for well over 2 centuries. Last I heard, he was alive. But if he's entered the twilight, I'm fairly certain that one of my siblings may have killed him already. And if not, then they may have fallen trying to. I played it smart. They may not have. But if my sister is alive, then she certainly has been playing it smart. But reckless. And that is dangerous. If she comes after my horde, I would rather you not be here. I got it, Atrig. Though, if you do need our help, call us. Call me. You are family. Him nodding his head, holding out a clawed arm to Deku, as Deku does go to grab the man's arm, him being pulled forwards and pat on the back. As the two, they do go to pull away and nod at each other, expressing, after things do blow over with family drama, perhaps they may come back for a meal. It would be nice to have some more people around. He's gotten quite used to having his daughter here. Dad, I'm not going to go far. From him or Granola, do not forget about your family. You are still in your first century. Mistakes may happen, but I think you are going down a proper path. Her nodding to her father, and Deku does bring a head up as Evelyn does grab Deku by the shoulder. Her, right now, holding up a bag that does have some of their items. As they do, go to vanish. Now, Atrig, his face is a somewhat drop, him sucking a breath as he does a turn, makes it back downstairs to have a cup of tea, and potentially look into finding his sister before she finds him. Now, Deku, he does appear in a room in Granola. And right now, he does look around at the massive lair he created. And it's nice. If he wanted to, even he could get some room down here. I mean, he made it with Valin, Indra, and him in mind in their full dragon forms. Not even that, but there is the fact that little Wrath isn't going to be so small in a few centuries. And then there's Astoth. Unironically, this place is made for 4 dragons. It's a literal den. And he does get a turn. Right now, Valin going to walk over a set of stairs, expressing she will begin setting things up upstairs. Though, is he going to be making a treasure hoard? Perhaps going over his looted items? I will. I'm going to be getting that done in a minute. Though, many of my trophies I will need to figure out what I want to do with. Your room is upstairs. Do with it what you please, and no. It was made with your true form in mind. After you unload everything, please set up the nursery. I do intend to. And thank you. For what? Your kindness. It is refreshing after my centuries of servitude. Right. If you do need to go out in your normal form, I will make the Queen aware of you quite soon. And the city will be informed not to attack you. Though, if you do need to act in self-defense. Do you understand this? Yes. There's not many people out there that can hurt you. Though, if you are threatened, then you may defend yourself. I see. Good. But if anyone does threaten my children, do not show them mercy. I see. Yes, I understand this. Good. Right now, Indra turning to Deku, asking if he's going to be trying to set up his own library first, or if he is going to be trying to keep it stored in his demiplane. I don't know. There's still a lot we've got to do. I mean, look at this place. Him gesturing around before talking about it. He's pretty sure that area over there would be really good to put all the weapons. I mean, maybe get a carriage in here and set everything up there, or do that with the ores. Stuff like that he does have still rucking around in his inventory. Rucking around? Rattling around. That's what I was trying to say. Sorry. You're quite excited about this. It's our home. It's home. Yes. Yes, it is. Her patting him on the arm, giving him a kiss, and talking about it. She will send someone down here to check on him. However, if he is caught sleeping on a pile of treasure without her, then she'll be quite furious. Him nodding his head. As right now Deku does turn. And other than the dragon corpses in his inventory, he does start to unload a lot of different things. Him even being surprised when he does get to find an old item. Right now, him finding a corpse flower that doesn't find itself on the ground. And the beast, it does begin to reek up a smell as Deku, he does go to start gagging. Right now, him going to bring his hand down and cast destruction magic on it, blasting it away. And the corpse flower, it does vanish. Deku smashing his hands together as he does go to allow smoke to pour through the air. And this time, it does replace the smell of the rotting creature. And he does go to turn. Him staring at the weapons he poured out of his inventory onto the floor, turning to a corner and making his way over, beginning to unload the treasure hoard he does get to carry. Now, we do have about 4 hours later. Right now, Deku, he does make his way up the stairs. And he does go to stop after he does get to the landing, turning and looking down to see the massive treasure hoard that does start to emanate light through the area. And it shines like a giant beacon, giving this place away. And Izuku, he does get to look up, trying to think about ways to defend this place. Carve runes into the wall to harden it? That's obviously an interesting idea. And then there's the idea of using magma magic to start to encase the area to keep it warm. This place is already quite cold, and he doesn't want his kids to get sick. That certainly is another idea. Right now, him getting to the top of the stairs and going to turn. And he does get to make his way in to a more humanoid area. Right now, him going to make his way through the cave as he does see a massive opening for the others. One where Astoth, he could sleep. And he does a turn, seeing another area where Little Wrath, he can get his own personal space. Right now the dragon laying on his own little hoard and going to snore out. Him somewhat chuckling at that as the dragon does a stir. Makes its way over to him as right now it does start to fly over and land onto his shoulder. Him nearly the size of a dog. And Izuku does somewhat mention this to him, about how his scales are still shedding. And the dragon does go to somewhat sit there, turning and looking at Deku's face. Him tripping out about how he does have weird lines on him. And Izuku, he does go to nod, telling him it's something new. And right now, he does go to talk about it, making his way out of the cave and into the courtyard, where people, they do go to somewhat pass by, staring at the area as he does walk out. And right now, there is where Erodos does come walking over as Deku does turn to see her. Her, Shomo, and even the princess, or I'm sorry, the queen. Right now, her with a crown on her head and talking about what is going to be happening soon. She is going to be addressing the people of Granala. Their homes have been rebuilt, and the castle, Deku turning and staring at it, 3 times its size than before. It's been built to be more grand. And she does a look at Deku, informing him about how she does feel nervous about this. And he does nod his head and step forwards, going to pull her into an embrace and give her a kiss, pulling back and telling her about how it's gonna be alright, since people will follow her. She's got the backing of the nobles and even the Onis. They will help. And she does nod her head as Erodos does go to somewhat step forwards and inform him. The Onis will respect Queen Lillian. She's allowed them to keep their traditions, and that is already a big step for their people. Many of them may have been against it, but she's held in high regards to Deku. That is well known. That respect passes on. It is the renown of a warrior, and considered to be a valuable thing to have that warrior's respect. Reputation carries. That does sound like a royal thing. If you do want to be so crass, then yes, it is a royal thing. Thank you, Erodos. That isn't my name. It isn't? I've regained my honor. I'm thinking of taking back my family name, but I am unsure. If not, creating a new name for my renown. It is a subject I must think much of. I see. Impressive. Deku turned to Shomo, and the kid does express. So, he built a lair then, like a dragon. Like a dragon. I got the library set up. It's a bit of a workshop right now, but it's gonna be built on more. I've gotten the forge, I've gotten the library, I've got the personal area, and I've got my hoard. Though I am protecting it behind a barrier. That one is going to be off limits. Really? Yeah. Though I do need to check it on something else. I've got this strange feeling. Something's out of place. I need to check it on Amshara. See how things are going on there, and if I can, learn more. Deku bring his hands up. We're now him putting a shoulder on Shomo and going to grab Erodos by her shoulder, turning to Lillian and telling her, these two are coming along with him. If anyone does ask, he is taking them on a quest. And she does bow her head before Deku does go to vanish. Her looking down at the cave and being curious about it. Since Valin is certainly an interesting thing she's gonna have to try and explain to her own city. They've got a den of dragons living under a castle. That sounds like the start to a horrible book. Though, perhaps not. Her thinking about that. A queen with dragons living under her home. That is what the gods in history may know her as. Her laughing it off a bit and still thinking about how the tyrant might be the thing her city is remembered for. And that does make her carry her head a little high. A city that survived a direct assault from the Demon Lord. Not a place that fell like the front lines. And right now she does get a turn. Turning and calling forth her royal guard. As right now Deku, he does appear in the throne room of Emsera. And when he does, the king, he does get to someone sit there. Right now the man with a goblet in his hand, as he does someone jump at the sudden appearance of a man. In Izuku, he does get a turn and go to fall forwards onto a knee. Many people stepping forwards, as Eridos does get to somewhat reflexively grab for her sword. And the man does stare on at this person in front of him. Before Deku does express. It has been quite some time, King Hamir. He has come to ask of him a favor. Who are you? You barge into my castle and demand my favor. Yes, it's been quite some time, Your Majesty. But I've spoken to you before. Quite some time ago. You did. I do not recognize you. Deku going to bring his hands up and express. He is Izuku of Grunala. Much has changed in his time. But he's here because it is a part of a great quest he is currently on. The hero of Grunala. Yes, I remember you now. You have changed quite much visibly. Yes, the years have been quite difficult, sir. I see. We already have the hero Bakugo. I believe you would know him as. Here. Really? Yes. He mentions that it was pertinent to his quest. But I did not think that you would be here. Interesting. What is he looking for? He said it was information about a man named Nero. Something that could be useful. My family has heard this name. It has been carried down for generations, but I did not think it would be pertinent to your quest. It is a bedtime story to us. I thought nothing of it. But it appears to be far more than that. Deku nodding, expressing. How much does he know about Nero? What has Bakugo told him of this man? He's explained it a little bit. Something about time and interventions? I do not understand it completely, but it is of great concern. It is, Your Majesty. Any information that you could provide to me or to him would be quite beneficial. I've allowed Bakugo, as you call him, to search our archives. Please be delicate with them if you do search, but I do not know how much more I may be able to aid you on this journey. But I do have one request. Yes, Your Majesty? Is it possible for me to find the location of my great grandfather's remains? I know you've said you put them somewhere safe, but are they still? The man looking kind of concerned. And Deku, he does not pop away as the man's face is a turn of surprise. Deku going to stand back on the tree and look around, seeing the old man does still sit there, back in the same place he left him, back in the same place where he met Alino. And he does just want to think back on that. He's standing in the same spot she was. And it feels weird. He was under level 100. And now he's got powers akin to, well, myth. It's beautiful. Him looking out of the city, trying to think about why Bakugo's here though. He thought he would still be trying to research his techniques, the combat magics he got. Perhaps he found something interesting to focus on. It's not a bad idea, but he's still concerned about what might be going on here in Amsera. If Nero left them a message, what could it be? It would have to be something that can echo across time. But that's just it. Time is against them right now. Right. Him popping back as he does inform the king. The remains are exactly where he left them. Though, does he plan to move them? No. Man jumping up. Now throwing his hand to his face to some little bit of a cough, expressing, he would like to see them if that would be possible. If that is all right. Yes. I believe it would be best to tell you there. It is a more private location. Deku stepping forwards and bringing his hand up to the king's shoulder. Many of the guards gasping out as the two do go to vanish. And right now the man is going to stand there, turning to look down at the petrified remains of his great-grandfather. Him falling to the seat on the right, turning and looking out at the tree. A tree. He hit him up here. He does this one look out towards the city. Yes. Quite a beautiful place. He was here. He gets to watch the sunset every day. He does. And I don't think taking that away from him would be good. A lot happened during our conversation. Yes, I believe a lot would have. I'm going to stand, turning and expressing. He does thank him for this. He was worried something may have happened, and it only does confirm that he is really who he does say he is. Yes. Thank you, Amir. I will respect your archives. Yes. My family has taken much pride in making sure that none of it has changed over the course of our history. No information should have been destroyed, and whatever has been adequately recovered. with minimal changes to whatever damage might have been. We have had thieves in our time and those who have tried attacking the archives to make a point. But I believe that should be helpful. We even do have our own grand murals. Murals? Yes. You will see them when you do go there. We've made sure to keep them the same as our founders. Him nodding his head. And right now, he does gonna bring a hand up as a chill, does this won't run up his spine. Him watching as the king, he immediately does a freeze and tense his entire body. And Deku does turn his head. Hello there. Hello. Alino. Him turning to the woman. And she does express. She knows what the man is thinking. Do not touch them. They may fall apart. He has been left here for a reason. He has returned back to nature and has gone on to the next realm. Oh, are you here to kill me? No. Do not be so hasty in your assumption. You will die one day. Not now. Then I will come claim you. Right now I am here for the hero of Granala, my champion. The man going to look down at the floor as Deku, he does just want to stare at her, trying to get a lock on her magic. And it's hard to do. It's more like a concept. He can feel, no, he can taste the death emanating around her, along with something else. Her magic. There's something there, a spark. And she does gonna raise her hand. Deku gonna step forwards and bring up his own, informing her. What is that? You sense it. When I claimed Galore, I claimed a fragment of his. But it was just that. A fragment. Search for it. Find the rest. As for Nero, he has already moved on. The one you search for of a planeswalker I've claimed long ago. But the information you do seek is in the library. That is all I may give you. Deku standing directly in front of her as he does gonna fall forwards onto a knee. Him expressing, thank you. That does save him some time. Her raising her hand up to Deku's face. In her hands, he expected them to be cold, but they were warm. They weren't sweaty, but they were toasty. And she does let out a small smile, glaring down at Deku, softly. Her gaze is penetrating, but not harsh, soft. And he does go to stare back up at her, as she does nod her head and pull her hand back slowly, informing him. His quest will have many turns from this point onward, and they do wait with bated breath at the mountain to see what he may do. But does he understand what exactly his part is? I do. Yes. Improve your ability. The power I have bestowed on you is meant for something. Something greater that I believe you do understand. Him nodding. and she does gonna vanish. As when the two reappear back in the throne room, the king, he is visibly shaken by the encounter. And Deku, oh so casually, moves on past it. Though Eridos does have someone stare at Deku for a second. Her making her way over and bringing her hand up. Her going to somewhat grab the side of his face that does have some hair on it. Is something alright? I'm fine. Your hair is turning white. Some of it is already graying. Is it? Deku going to grab a chunk of his hair and pull it away, finding a white streak that does catch him by surprise. And he does a somewhat shrug past this. Right now, going to talk about it. I'll have to look into that a bit more later, but he saw Alino again, and he believes he's going in the right direction. Him going to gesture to his servant, asking to be taken to the library. And when a person is to look at the king, he does go to wave them away as he's to take a massive gulp from the goblet on his throne. Right now, still somewhat shaken by feeling death in his presence. And it was terrifying for him. His power is great, but he felt something pressing down on him like he was trapped in a corner. He felt like pure prey in that instance. And it does make him question what's in this wine. Now, with that being said, Deku, he does a run into Bakugo at the archives. Right now, him somewhat sitting there and going over a few things. A few of his body doubles already sitting at the tables, going over some books as Elsa. She does somewhat sit at a chair talking about a few things. And Deku, he does go to stare at the two. Or, well, the group in this instance. Him glancing up at Deku and going to freeze. The original jumping to his feet and going to express. Yeah, he's already been searching for about the last 3 days. Not much really has been found. But his help would be much appreciated. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.